what was kind of ultimately the decision to go with a Charlie Blackmon on the cover this year as opposed to maybe some of the young cats that are coming up?
I think when you're talking about any magazine, you have to consider the marketability of who you put on the cover. And right or wrong, good or bad, Charlie Blackmon is still the face of the Rockies, and people love Charlie Blackmon. And they should. He's a great guy. He's a consummate professional, and he can still hit. So, I think that's one of the challenges when you have a team like the Rockies that have kind of toiled in mediocrity at best. You have to go with the guy that fans like, and that's Charlie Blackmon. There are a handful of athletes who have been on 3 or more covers, and Charlie Blackmon's one of them. And there's never a coincidence with that. I mean, you work with guys that are good to work with and that get into your creative concept. And he knows his job, especially this summer, is to represent this team as they kind of go into their next phase. And he's the guy that people like. So he's always been great to work with. He's always been a good guy to interview or photograph or whatever. So it's no coincidence that Charlie's on our cover. I think one of the fun things about being a part of Mile High Sports Magazine for 20 years now is that there are a lot of athletes that we saw come in and we'll see go out. And Charlie Blackmon's one of those guys. I mean, he's spent his entire career as a Colorado Rocky, and I can remember when he got called up and he was a young guy, big, tall, rangy guy, no beard. We didn't know that he was goofy and fun like he is. This was long before his The Outfield walk-up song. I mean, he's just a guy, just a call-up. And you see him evolve, and now he's literally the face of the franchise, and he's earned that. And I think it's fun to be able to see a guy in his entire career, get to know him as a person, and Charlie's a great example of that. I think Charlie Blackmon's look is one of the most iconic symbols in Colorado sports history. You can talk about guys that have made an impact, your John Elways, your Joe Sakic's, whatever, and Charlie Blackmon probably, because of the team he's playing on, hasn't had that kind of impact. But there isn't a soul in Denver who doesn't understand what the beard is. I mean, this t-shirt's a good example. It's a guy with no eyes and face, and everybody knows who this is. So Charlie Blackmon's image is as important to the Rockies as his batting average. I mean, this is everything for them. I think one of the keys for any good publication is to be honest to your readers. There's no mistake. This is not a World Series contending team. And I think if you come out of the gates and act overly excited about a team that isn't a contender, your readers see through that. So you have to pick and choose what your storylines are. You have to decide which issues you need to take a team to task for, or which ones that you can be excited about. Getting to like Charlie Blackmon is something everybody can relate to and like. Understanding where Kris Bryant is in terms of his comeback, people understand that. People are curious about that. But also taking a hard look at this Rockies and trying to decide if they are in a rebuild or if they should be in a rebuild. That's one of the great things that our panelists, our guys that cover the Rockies on the beat, they did a great job of being really truthful about what this team is and what it isn't this year. I think one of the fun kind of hidden gems in this issue is always the Miss Hooters Colorado competition, which we've worked with Hooters for many, many years, and they've actually turned Mile High Sports into the mechanism that they choose their Miss Hooters Colorado. So we highlight each of the contestants in that contest, get to know them a little bit personally, both in the magazine and on the web. And it's a thing that guys are gonna like, so check it out. I think if I was gonna leave you with one tease, one reason to pick up this magazine, it would be to read the Kris Bryant interview. Decide for yourself if you think Kris Bryant is a great Rocky, can be a great Rocky, will be a great Rocky, or if this is one of the worst signings in Major League history. But you gotta read the magazine. You gotta pick that one up and read it.